In the bright, cozy village of Silverbell, preparations for New Year's night were in full swing. Colorful lights twinkled on every house, the joyful laughter of children filled the air, and the sky above slowly deepened into a dark, velvety blue. Every year, people wait for the new year, believing it will magically fix their lives, wash away their troubles, and grant their deepest wishes. Among the hopeful children was a 10-year-old boy named Leo. He looked excited, just like everyone else, but underneath his smile, a small worry lingered in his heart. Leo sat on the steps of his house, clutching a small notebook with a very important title, My New Year Wishes. He opened it to a page filled with his neat handwriting. The list read, I want to be smarter. I want to win at school. I want my life to be easy. He let out a heavy sigh. Every year, he wrote down his wishes with so much hope, but as the months passed, nothing really seemed to change. His grandma Rose, with her kind eyes and gentle smile, sat down beside him. Leo, she said softly, the new year brings chances, not miracles. But Leo was too young to fully understand the weight of her words. At the very center of Silverbell stood a giant, old clock tower. For generations, its familiar chime had marked the countdown to the new year. As the villagers gathered below, bundled in their warmest coats, a sudden cry of alarm cut through the cheerful chatter. The clock stopped. Someone shouted. Everyone looked up. It was true. The clock's massive hands were frozen, stuck at exactly 10 seconds to midnight. A wave of panic spread through the crowd. If the clock doesn't move, a voice cried out, 2026 won't come. Leo stared up at the tall, silent tower, his heart pounding in his chest. Leo ran back to Grandma Rose, his eyes wide with fear. Grandma, what if the new year never comes? He asked, his voice trembling. Grandma Rose calmly placed a warm hand on his head. Time doesn't wait for clocks, Leo, she said, her voice steady and reassuring. Time waits for courage. Those words echoed in Leo's mind, powerful and clear. He looked from his grandma's wise face back to the silent clock tower, and in that moment, he made a decision. A new kind of determination sparked within him. While the adults stood below, arguing about what to do, Leo slipped away from the crowd. He quietly approached the base of the clock tower and began to climb the cold, metal ladder. The wind whipped around him, making the old tower creak and groan. Once inside, he saw a scene of neglect. Gears were caked in rust, springs were broken, and everything was covered in a thick layer of dust from many forgotten years. He thought to himself, I always wait for change to happen to me, but I never actually tried to make it happen. He put his small hands on one of the giant gears and pushed. It didn't budge. He pushed again, but it was stuck fast. His hands began to hurt, and a cold wave of fear washed over him. As he stood there, ready to give up, Leo's mind flashed back to his wish list. I want to be smarter. I want to win. I want life to be easy. He looked at the stubborn, rusty gear in front of him. Maybe this was the test. Maybe change wasn't something you wish for, but something you work for. He shook his head and said aloud, maybe change starts with me. Gathering every last bit of his strength, he leaned into the gear and pushed one more time. A faint groan echoed in the dusty chamber. Tick. A slow, metallic sound. Tick. Another one. Tick. The gears slowly, painfully, began to turn. The clock hands outside crept forward. 11:59 and 59 seconds. And then 12 o'clock. Suddenly, the night sky exploded in a dazzling display of fireworks. The village below erupted in cheers. "Happy New Year 2026," they shouted, hugging one another. The old clock tower began to glow with a soft, warm light, and as the villagers watched, the cracks in its ancient stone seemed to vanish like magic. The village elder, seeing Leo climb down, pointed up at him proudly. This child didn't wait for the new year to change his life, he announced to the crowd. He changed himself first. Leo smiled, not because of the praise, but because he felt a real change deep inside. Later that night, long after the celebrations had quieted down, Leo sat in his room and opened his notebook again. He took his pen and drew a firm line through his old wishes. On a fresh page, he wrote a new list. "I will try, even when it's hard. I will not wait for luck. I will become better, step by step." The new year didn't give Leo a miracle. It gave him something much more valuable, a mindset. He looked out his window at the star-filled sky, a genuine smile on his face. "Welcome, 2026, he whispered. "Remember, the new year doesn't change your life. Your actions do." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Happy New Year!